Hey guys, Bearded Nate, welcome to my first ever Nuzlocke. For this Nuzlocke, I'm trying out Pokemon Leafgreen, but it's randomized. So your starter Pokemon, all wild, gifted and traded Pokemon are completely random. Okay, so let's start off with some of the ground rules. So there are 2 or 3 normal ground rules that everyone goes with when they're completing a Nuzlocke. The first one is you can only catch 1 Pokemon in each area, unless it's a duplicate of a Pokemon that you've already caught or any of their evolutions, then you can re-roll. The second one is if a Pokemon faints, then it is classed as dead and either needs to be released or put in the PC, never to be used again. And the third rule that everyone generally tends to follow is you must give a nickname to every Pokemon you catch, and this helps form a stronger bond. Now there is a 4th rule that we're playing with, and that's no extreme over leveling. It's just a friendly rule and is in no way important, as you'll likely see through this video and the others following. So I know there are a ton of other additional rules people like to include, like no items during battle, no held items, minimal times going to the Pokemon Center, etc, etc. But as this is my first time, I'm going to be playing with minimal rules. I'm also playing with 2 other friends at the same time to see how we all get on. So now that I've named my character, named my rival Man for Matt and Dan, let's go choose our starter. Let's go. Straight down to business then. I'm sure everyone knows these games by now. The story, the areas, the Pokemon. So we'll be skipping through the grinding and focusing on the main aspects. The story, the Pokemon catchers, gyms, rival battles and Pokemon losses. First off, let's trigger Oak stopping us from walking into the terrifying grass and follow him to his lab. So once we're in Oak's lab, there's 3 Pokeballs on the table. The first one is Celebi, the second one is Torkoal, and the third Pokemon is Beautifly. Now the obvious option here is to select Celebi, which we promptly name Onion, and our rival chooses Beautifly. After a quick battle with Man, we wipe the floor with him with Celebi, and off we go to Viridian City and our journey begins. Now with any Nuzlocke, the Nuzlocke rules don't apply until we've received our first lot of Pokeballs. So once in Viridian City, I grab Oat's parcel and back to Pallet Town. Once back in Oak's lab, we receive the Pokedex from Oak and some balls. Now the Nuzlocke truly begins. Off to Route 1. So off we go to Route 1 where we encounter our first Pokemon, which is an Anorith. Not the Pokemon I'd ideally have liked, but it could have been worse. Now, after a couple of back and forths with some Pokeballs, attacking him to weaken him, we finally caught Anorith, and we promptly named him the Claw.
Oh no, it's the Claw!
No one can stop the Claw!
With Anorith on our team from Route 1, it was straight on to Route 2, and our encounter here was Seedot. Now, I wasn't paying attention here, and I almost lost Anorith, but luckily, with a bit of back and forth, Seedot was able to be caught, and we promptly named him Groot. Welcome to the team, Seedot. After capturing Seedot on Route 2, it was a quick walk over to Route 22, where we easily captured a Shuckle, who I named because you don't with Shuckle. Next on our list is Viridian Forest. So off we go looking for our first encounter. And what do we find? We find a Beldum. I couldn't be happier. What a fantastic Pokemon to be adding to our team. However, the luck was shortly lived. As you can see here, after quickly getting Beldum's health down to red, it was avoiding Pokeball after Pokeball. So I thought I'd attempt a final scratch, and what a stupid decision that was. As you can see, I killed him. No Pokemon from Viridian Forest for me. Now we move on to Brock. Being a randomizer, I had to go in knowing absolutely nothing. It was safe to say he would still only have 2 Pokemon, but those Pokemon could literally be anything. All I could do was hope for the best. And so we begin. Brock starts by sending out Piloswine. The Claw was first in my party, so I started with Harden, trying to play this safe. However, after one Powder Snow, I realised this isn't going to go the way I wanted, so I switched into Celebi. I know what you're thinking, ice versus grass. I'm such a noob, but I went in knowing Celebi was a little over leveled at this point. Piloswine Powder Snowed again, and this time not taking much of Celebi's HP at all, so I knew I was relatively safe. I hit back with Confusion, taking quite a lot of damage to Piloswine, but then Piloswine Powder Snows again, and as you can see, Celebi is frozen solid. What are the chances? So here we go, Celebi's frozen solid. All I have now is Groot, the Claw and Shuckle. Groot knows basically nothing, he's useless at this point. The Claw is already damaged, so I don't want to send him out again, so I'm left to go with Shuckle. So I've had to send him out. With Shuckle's high defense stat and Piloswine already being leeched, it only took a couple of moves for Piloswine to be killed off. With Piloswine down, 1 to go. Brock then sends out his second Pokemon, a level 14 Golduck. With the level and type advantage, I truly thought I was done for, not even getting past the first gym on my first Nuzlocke. But let's see how this goes down. A combination of withdraws, wraps and constrictions, I'm able to chip away at Golduck's HP. All I can say is thank you Shuckle for your damn defense. After what felt like an eternity between Golduck's disable, both of us just chipping away at each other's HP, I finish victorious. With 1 badge down, 7 to go, we move on to Route 3 and head on over to Mount Moon. But before that we get stopped, given some running boots, and we've got a vast amount of trainers to defeat before we even get to Mount Moon. So let's go. Now on to Route 3. Things are going relatively well. I'm defeating the trainers. Yes, I have to keep going back to the Pokemon Center to re-heal because I'm so worried about losing a Pokemon. I've got Groot out in front, trying to train him up, trying to get him to a Nuzleaf, and then all of a sudden we meet Greg. Now Greg sent out a level 9 Mantine, and I had Groot, a level 10 Seedot, out in front. Yes, looking back, I should have withdrawn Groot and just pulled out Celebi, but I was so adamant to try and train him up. I hit hard and so many times trying to make sure that Mantine's attacks weren't doing anything, but it just wasn't enough. And in the end, out of pure stupidness on my behalf, Groot fainted and we lost our first team member.
Walk out the door, you see someone that you know and they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
After 20 minutes of incontrollable crying, we stomped Greg into the ground and showed him who's boss. Now, we finish off the rest of the trainers on Route 3 and we finally get to the patch of grass where we could get our next encounter. Our next encounter is a Huntow. I start off with a scratch, comfortable that knowing a second scratch should... God damn it, the Claw! You weren't supposed to crit! Well, I guess that's our encounter for Route 4. On to Mount Moon. Reaching the Pokemon Center outside of Mount Moon, there's a guy who tries to sell you a Magikarp for 500 buckaroos, an outrageous amount for a Magikarp. But this being a randomizer, we could literally get anything. My thoughts start going wide. Could it be a legendary, a mythical, a glorious starter? Perhaps just a Magikarp, which I'd be happy with at this point, just something that could bag a punch. After handing over the money, the game then asks me if I want to give a nickname to... a bloody Wobbuffet. You've got to be kidding me. This thing is goddamn useless, what a waste of money. I grudgingly name him Wobble, and Wobble the Wobbuffet is added to the team. Maybe I can use him for Cadam fodder down the line. After getting the Wobbuffet in the Pokemon Center, it's now time to start tackling Mount Moon, so in we go. Our first encounter in Mount Moon comes nice and quick. It's a Politoed. Great, a water type. I could do with one of those on the team. After escaping a couple of Pokeballs and hitting hard on the Claw, I switch out to Celebi, who's got a huge level advantage, so should be able to tank a few hits while I throw ball after ball at it. When the balls continuously fail, we move into attack mode. I leech Politoed to start reducing his health while taking hit after hit. but what I do next will forever haunt me throughout this run. So here's what went wrong. After I'd leached Politoed, I sped up the battle via the emulator while continuously watching Politoed's health slowly decline until it hit the yellow. Then I stopped it for a second. I then threw another Pokeball, which as usual Politoed broke out of, and then he did a move I wasn't aware that he had. He used Perish Song. Luckily this move missed, and so I totally ignored it and attempted to throw one more Pokeball. But what you probably didn't miss, which I definitely did, was that both Celebi and Politoed showed that their Perish count had fallen to 1. I totally missed this and I threw one more Pokeball. Then it happens. The text at this time I do see. Onion's Perish count fell to 0. Time slowed down as Celebi's full health went all the way down to 0. I couldn't believe I messed up this badly. How did I miss this? He must have Perish Songed when I was speeding up the battle animation. What an absolute idiot. Celebi down, Politoed fell straight after, so now I was down an encounter in the whole of Mount Moon, and my starter was dead. So many emotions going through my head. Could I pretend that never happened? Just cut the video and pretend I never encountered that Politoed? I'm not live streaming, no one saw me. But then my guilt cut in. I can't cheat. As much as I'd love to, I really shouldn't. I considered leaving my first Nuzlocke here, starting again from scratch, making sure to pay closer attention the second time round. But no, I will continue, if anything, in Onion's memory. Mount Moon had left a bad taste in my mouth. Taking my Celebi from me so early on, I'm now a laughingstock of the Nuzlocke community. The first trainer in Mount Moon came at me with a Nidoqueen. My heart just wasn't in it anymore. I tried taking her down quickly with the claw, that wasn't working, so I switched into Shuckle, attempting the high defense Wrap Constrict method that helped me beat Brock. That wasn't working either. Now, I thought my run was over, with Shuckle almost dead and poisoned. My only last option was Wobbly. Nidoqueen was hitting hard, so I did the only thing that Wobbuffet was useful for. I used Destiny Bond and allowed Nidoqueen to take me down while at the same time taking her down with me. 5 minutes in Mount Moon and she'd already taken 2 Pokemon from me. How am I going to continue? Now, I understand what Pokemon Randomizer Nuzlocke is, but when you come face to face with a Team Rocket Grunt, you don't expect them to have a Blastoise. Unfortunately, this guy did, and he absolutely destroyed me. As you'll see, the Blastoise was tricky enough to take down, but we managed to. But unfortunately, coming up against his last Pokemon, both the Claw and Shuckle barely living it through on 2 and 4 HP respectively. Unfortunately, we once again have to say goodbye to one of my Pokemon. Right, so I'm just going to pause here because it only occurred to me now that watching this clip back that Marill using Tail Whip, if I'd have known that Marill was going to use Tail Whip, I could have used Shuckle's Encore, which meant that Marill would have had to use Tail Whip for the next 3 to 5 turns, in which case I wouldn't have lost Shuckle. What an absolute disappointed play.
Shut up and sit down.
With one Pokemon left, we're still in Mount Moon. I wasn't holding out much luck with this Nuzlocke. But still, I powered through, we got to the Super Nerd, we beat him, and then we got our chance to take a fossil. And we took the Helix fossil. Praise be to Lord Helix. So that's it, we took the Helix fossil, we exited Mount Moon, we've arrived at Route 4 just before Cerulean City, and we should get another counter here as well. But that will be for another episode. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. Leave any feedback you have in the comments below. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episode on my Pokemon Leafgreen Nuzlocke randomizer run. I hope you enjoyed. Catch you again soon. Bye.